Hello, I am Jessie the Sleepy Koala and welcome. Today I will be doing a good old-fashioned book haul. To those of you who are new here, welcome. To those of you who are returning, welcome back. If you like what I do, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment because I love chatting with people in the comments. Today, we will be doing a book haul. I have not done a book haul in a long time. It was sometime last year. Initially, this was just meant to be a Christmas book haul of all the books I got for Christmas this year, but then it got pushed back and pushed back. And push back 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 until now, where it is March, and I have gotten quite a few other books since Christmas time. So instead of this being a Christmas book haul, it's going to be a start of the year book haul, Q1 book haul instead. I have books that were bought for different reasons in this book haul. Some of them were Christmas presents. Other ones were buying new editions or updated editions of books that I wanted to own or was missing a copy of. Then there are books that I bought for putting on the bookshelf collection purposes, which I guess I will eventually read, but I bought it because I wanted to own the whole collection of something instead of just because I wanted to read the specific book. So what I'm talking about in both of these last two is collecting books. I don't really know what I was going on about when I filmed this. For some reason, I had some idea in my mind that these were two different things, but they're not. I just was collecting books. I bought a bunch of books that I bought for collection purposes across like several different authors and such. So please ignore my really weird ramblings trying to define these two categories that are the same thing, because yeah, I'm just talking about collecting books. There are books that I bought that I actually was reading at the time or was planning to read next. So I haven't really bought many things, if anything, that was kind of an impulse buy or anything like that, where I bought it, but I don't think I'm going to read it for ages, but there was no other reason for me to buy it. So I did a terrible job at trying to explain what I was actually thinking at this point. What I'm basically trying to distinguish is I didn't go to the bookstore, find a bunch of books that I want to read, buy them, and then I'm going to put them on the shelf and not read them for like another year or so. That's what I was trying to not do, because that just builds up my physical TBR more. And what instead I was trying to do was either buy books that I was going to read immediately, or they were books that I was buying for collecting purposes specifically, instead of for books to just sit there unread with the whole purpose of me buying them being that I was going to read them. So there were actually pretty good reasons for a lot of these books that have been bought. So I don't necessarily feel bad about adding more books to my shelves, because I am trying to get through my physical TBR at the moment, and it is rather large for me. I will eventually be doing a physical TBR video where I go through my entire physical TBR, and I will also be doing an electronic one where I go through my electronic TBR. So look out for those. They're on the horizon, probably in the month of April, but I will be getting them out to you guys soon. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get into the video. To start us off, why don't I go through the books I got for Christmas first? First up, we have A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. This is a sequel to his first book, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. God, those names are a little bit hard to say. I read An Absolutely Remarkable Thing last January, and I loved it, and I really wanted to get to the sequel, but I just didn't at the time. And then my husband got me this for Christmas, so I recently re-listened on audiobook to the first book, and I am looking forward to going on with this. I will probably read this next month sometime. I don't think I'm going to get to it in March, but April I think is when I'm going to go on, and I'm going to read the second book in this series. The next book that I got for Christmas was Target by Darcy Cole. Darcy is a member of the Sanderson community who I know tangentially, and I heard that she was putting out a book, and I heard that it was a gender-swapped Robin Hood retelling, and I love that idea, and I really want to read it. So I'm really looking forward to reading Darcy's work, and I'm looking forward to reading more fairy tales as well, because that was one of my goals for this year, is to read more fairy tales, and this fits the bill, and I'm really excited to get to it. The next book is 3 Parts Dead by Max Gladstone. This is a book that I have wanted to read for a while. I have a friend who absolutely adores this book, and he talks about it a lot, so I wanted to see what it was like. This book, as far as I'm aware, contains a god that has died, and our main character is tasked to try and bring them back to life with necromancy, which sounds like such an interesting premise. It's always fun in a book where the god dies at the start, and you then have to look at the ramifications of that instead of having the god there the whole time and they die at the end. That type of story is also very good. Just good in a different way. It's just fun to see the aftermath of things. Next book up is All Systems Red by Martha Wells. This is the first book in the Murderbot Diaries and one that I'm looking to read sometime this month. It is very little. It is a tiny little book, so I think I could get through it quite quickly, but I'm really excited to meet this anxious little robot because I think I will connect with him very well as someone who also has like peak anxiety all the frickin' time. I don't know anything about the plot of this. I just know that everyone loves the main character Murderbot. Finally, for Christmas, my husband got me this gorgeous set of the Caravel books. Look at these. Look at how pretty they are. I have held these up in many a video at this point because I was recently finishing them and I have finished them. I really enjoyed book 2. I enjoyed book 3, but in a slightly different way. I think it was less good than the first 2. But it was still really fun and I had a blast reading it. I will talk more about finale in my March wrap-up, so look out for that in the next couple of weeks to hear more of my thoughts. But look at how pretty these covers are. I absolutely adore these editions, so I am very thankful to my husband for getting them for me. Next up is a non-fiction book that was also a gift from my husband. It's called Teach Yourself How to Learn. This is a book about learning, about better ways to study, better ways to learn. I went back to school this year and this book has been really helpful for me getting better study habits and better ways to retain information and learn information so that I understand it and so that I know it going forward. This book was phenomenal. I talked about it in my January wrap-up, I think, but it was incredible. I absolutely loved it. I highly recommend it for anybody who is studying. It is so good. It's very short, so it's not that much of a commitment to get through. It's very easy to read and it's very engaging and just has so many good tips and tricks on better ways to learn, better ways to study, better ways to retain information. Things like memorization are just not actually very good. It's information that you won't keep for the long term. And it's so much better to learn at a deeper level, and you're going to know and understand better and also retain that information for much longer than if you just did repetition, which is what I used to do when I did university. So I am glad to have this book. It has really helped so far in my semester, and I look forward to going back to it and looking at other strategies I could do in the future because there's so much in here. You can't do everything all at once. So I love this. I recommend it. Please buy this book if you are studying. Please read it. It is so good. It will really help you. The last book that I got for Christmas is this gorgeous copy of Shadow and Bone. It is a collector's edition. This is actually the slipcase, not the actual book. The actual book looks like this. It is so pretty, and I love the dynamic here between like the sun on the slipcase and then the darkness on the book. Like I think that works so well thematically with what's actually in this book and what it's about. So I really love this edition. I'm really thankful to my husband for getting it for me. And one day I might actually, read Shadow and Bone, which I still haven't actually done, even though I've read the rest of the series so far, except the main series and like the side books. But I do want to get to Shadow and Bone this year. I really want to read the actual series. I just have to see how I go, as with everything, to try and fit more things in. But this is a gorgeous copy and I absolutely adore it. It sits on my nice books shelf and just looks so pretty, particularly because I have an entire Leigh Bardugo section because all of her books are really nice. Like just the general copies are really nice. So it sits there with all of that and all the other special editions and it's so cute and I love it. So good. That concludes the Christmas section of this video. I got quite a few books for Christmas. I am very pleased with it. I am very thankful to all of the people who gave me those books because they're really good and I look forward to reading them. Moving on, I want to talk about books that I bought so that I had them on my shelves and so I could collect them because I knew I wanted the whole series. Speaking of Leigh Bardugo books, I bought just a few of them over the last 3 months. I bought the base Shadow and Bone series, so those 3 books, because I didn't actually own them. I own 2 nice copies of Shadow and Bone itself, but I didn't own the other 2 books. So my husband picked up all 3 of them in a collection, which was very nice. I also picked up both of the short stories. We have The Language of Thorns and The Lives of Saints. These books are gorgeous. These are the naked hardcovers of just the general normal book you can buy at the store. Look at how pretty these are. They're so nice, and it's on the side as well. Nothing on the back. Whereas this one at least has like a border on the back. But these are so pretty, and these sit on my nice books shelf as well. Also, I got King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, which can we also appreciate these books? These are, again, the standard hardcovers that you can buy in store. These are not special editions, but this is what is under the dust jacket. It's gorgeous. It's so pretty. So these live without the dust jackets down on my nice bookshelf as well in my growing Leigh Bardugo section, because I just have so many of her books that look so nice now. I really like the Grishaverse. I've read the Six of Crows duology and I've read the King of Scars duology. I really need to get around to the base trilogy. Like I was saying before, I really need to get there, and I will get there eventually. Eventually. It's nice to have the short stories as well, because they're a nice palette cleanser that I can go to when I need something short just in between books, or if I want to like really get back into the Grishaverse before I get into Shadow and Bone, I can read the short stories first and like really pump myself up for it. It's gonna be so good. Other books that I bought for collection purposes, I'm slowly collecting the Tsubasa Chronicle omnibuses and the Cardcaptor special editions. So I've got, oops, that's upside down. So I've got the Cardcaptor Special Edition number 5 and Tsubasa Chronicles number 9. I'm getting there slowly with both of these. They're just expensive, and I know I'm not going to read them until I own all of them, so I need to keep buying them. But at the same time, because I'm not reading them, I don't have the desire to buy them and to get more, so I'm kind of getting a couple each month until I've got all of them, and then I can actually start reading them. Next up, we have the books I wanted to get that had just different editions out. Again, either missing something or there was a new set of the books out with a different cover, so I have quite a few for that. Collecting books. What I was trying to say is collecting books, but in a different way, because again, I had a stupid idea of these 2 different categories that were both collecting books, but for some reason were different in my mind at the time. So please ignore my really dumb explanations and just realize that I'm talking about collecting books. And if you thought my Leigh Bardugo pile was big, take a look at my Sanderson pile, because I got just a few Sanderson books, and this is really heavy. Starting us off, we have got the Skyward series, and yes, there are 2 copies of Cytonic there. That's on purpose. For those of you who are new or are not aware, I am from Australia. In Australia, we get the UK or the international editions of Sanderson's books. So they're the books that are done by Goliaths. Now that I am in the US, I cannot buy those in bookstores, so I have to order them online. I was missing Cytonic, the 3rd book, and the ones that I already own are paperback. So I bought the paperback of Cytonic to match my current collection of the Cytoverse books. But also, I saw that the hardcovers for the UK editions were also on special, so I bought all of these as well. So I now have 2 copies of the Cytoverse books, one in paperback and one in hardcover, and now I get to continue it on with the next book and get all of those in both softcover and hardcover. Speaking of the international Goliaths editions, I also got the 2-parter of Rhythm of War. For those of you who are not aware, in the UK, they actually split the Stormlight books into 2 different parts when they make them into trade paperbacks, because the book is too big by itself. So there are 2 different parts to it. It takes a little while for them to put that out. They actually put out a bigger cover version that's a single book when the book is first released, and later they put out these dual parts. So I was waiting to get the dual part one so that I could add that to my collection as well, because of course when I started reading the Sanderson books, all I could get were these part 1, part 2 books. So I have all of those, but I've also been lucky enough to collect the larger Stormlight books, which are much more limited printing. So I'm very lucky to have been able to collect all of those as well. Finally, for Sanderson, we've got the Alcatraz books. These are coming out with new covers, and I believe these are the old covers. My husband didn't own them, so he wanted to get them before they became harder to get. So we got all of these Alcatraz books, and then presumably when the new covers come out, we will also get those new covers as well, because we collect Sanderson books and have so many of them. Moving on to books that I bought because I am currently reading them or was planning on immediately reading them once I got them. First up, we've got the Mirror Visitor series, which I've been going on about because I absolutely love it. I have got dedicated reviews for books 2, 3, and 4 out, and will eventually do one for number 1. I just need to reread it first. It just took a very long time for it to actually show up in the mail, so by that point I had moved on to other things. But I love this series so much. It is one of my favorite series, and I recommend it to everyone because I just want people to experience how good this romance was and how good the slow burn was, and it was just amazing. Such good character work and such good relationship development. It was so good. So I bought all of these over the last couple of months and have also read them multiple times. Next up, for books that I bought that I was planning to immediately read, I have 2. I have Neon Gods and A Touch of Darkness. I actually bought these books together at the same time because I want to do a reading vlog for them, seeing what they are like. I have not yet posted that, but it will be up sometime soon-ish. I just have to finish A Touch of Darkness. I've now finished Neon Gods, and then you can see my first reading vlog, which I guess we'll just see how it goes, but I think it's going well so far. Final book that I bought that I immediately started reading was The Witcher: The Last Wish. I am about halfway through this, just over halfway through this book, and I'm not sure how much I'm liking it, and I honestly haven't picked it up since the start of the month at all, but it is a gorgeous edition. It's got illustrations in it, and I do love the illustrations. I love this copy so much. I really like the artwork that's on the dust jacket, but also it has a quote underneath from Geralt, which I think was really cool. The last 2 books are kind of in a miscellaneous category. The first one is Romanov. This book I bought because of a buddy read I was going to be doing with Becky the Teacup Storyteller. We've had to put that on hold, but we will get back to it eventually. But I've got the book for when I do eventually get around to that buddy read. I also got Scythe, which was a gift from Andre at the Bookworm Alley. There was a Valentine's Day book exchange, and this was the book that I got out of it. So I'm really pleased. I really want to read this book, and now I can. So that is it. That is all the books that I have bought in the last 3 months. I look forward to seeing what books I buy in the next few months before I do another one of these book hauls. Let me know your thoughts below on any of the books that I hauled, and I would love to chat with you in the comment. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!